Captain TJ here with the Georgia Fishing Company, and this is your mid-November fishing report. Right now it's November 14th, and what we're looking at is a lot of wind over the next few days. And that's always the story this time of year, is you have to worry about these north and northeast cold fronts coming in and bringing a lot of wind with it. Also, the air temperature has been a lot cooler. We've had some mornings down in the 30s, and that's going to drop our water temperature. So things are changing. So we'll start with the bull reds, because I think we're just about done with those. This past weekend we had a really good weekend for bull reds, numbers up in the 40s for half-day trips. But that's tapered down throughout the week. I think on Wednesday we only caught 9, and that was I think that was top boat for Wednesday. That just wasn't all that great. And after the cold front that we're experiencing now, I think that's pretty much going to put a lid on our bull red fishing for 2019. So I would expect to maybe catch a few strays out there, but I probably wouldn't target bull reds after today, because the chances of consistently catching them aren't that good. But not only that, there's just something better to do, and the trout fishing is really good right now. So what we're seeing now is everybody's catching trout. It's fairly easy. You find a spot that looks like it should have trout on it, and there's probably going to be trout there. What you're going to notice is over the next few weeks, the water temperatures are going to get a little colder, and the fish are going to go from widespread to a little bit more condensed to a little bit more condensed, to where you're finding them really, really balled up in very, very specific spots on very, very specific tides. And what you're going to be looking for as this happens is deep bends. Deep bends in the back of the river, deep bends in the back of these smaller creeks. So if you can find a bend that's, say, 15, 20 feet in the middle, and it's got this nice sheer steep bluff on the outside of that bend, that's good stuff. If it's got docks on it, that's good stuff. Overhanging trees, palmetto bluffs, these kind of things, and if you notice, also you see these deep bends that have that real soft pluff mud on the outside, but then all of a sudden you see the mud kind of change. The marsh grass changes, it's shorter, it's stubbier, and the mud has that sheer face on it, that really steep face. Sometimes that's all it takes as well. So that's where you're going to find these fish. Also, you get in the back of these really small creeks where it's a foot or 2 feet deep, and then it drops down to 6 or 8 feet deep in the back. That's also good. Those smaller creeks, you're also going to find your redfish and black drum as well, mixed in with the trout, as well as sheep's head. So going forward, that's what you're going to be looking for those trout. As you start to notice that you can't find them everywhere, that's where you're going to find them. Also, right now, we've got 7.5 foot tides with mid-morning high tides, which is good because the tide turns and you've got that 7.5 foot tide, so you've got plenty of current to fish for the rest of the day. Where you run into trouble is when you have, say, a 6.5 foot tide or a 6.3, and then it's, say, a 0.5 low tide. So you've got less than 6 feet of water moving. You're not going to have a lot of current throughout the day, and in some spots you'll hardly see the cork drift. Those are the days that it's going to get tough. Water clarity is excellent. Water temperature is excellent. You know the fish are there, but you can't get any bites. So what you're going to have to do is lighten your leader up. You're going to have to go from that 20-pound test leader down to like a 6-pound test leader, and go from, say, a 1/0 hook down to like a number 3 or a number 4, and get real small with your tackle, real subtle. That way that shrimp can swim freely. It's hard for a shrimp to move that 20-pound test, and it's hard for a shrimp to drag that 1/0 hook. When the current's flushing, not a big deal. But when it's barely moving, it makes all the difference in the world. Those fish are still sitting down there with their nose in the current, but if that shrimp's just kind of paralyzed, just kind of going along with the current looking dead, it's not very convincing. But if he's still kicking around and they can't see that leader, they can't see that hook, the shrimp looks lively, you're going to catch fish that you weren't going to catch with the heavier tackle. So if everything's right, except the current's kind of slow and you're not catching fish, lighten your tackle up and see if that helps you. That's it. See you next time. Tight lines.